Good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Rancourt. The first thing that I would like you to do before we start reading and annotating the text is to put a number 1 above this paragraph. Okay, put a number 2 above this paragraph, and put a number 3 above this one. Okay, so the purpose of today's class, by the end of it, is to be able to explain the difference between energy transfer and energy transformation. And I realize that those two words sound very similar, but they mean two very different things. And so that's really the important of this thing that I need you to walk away from it with this lesson, is that we have to be able to understand what those two words mean and know that they are not similar, even though they sound very similar. Okay, so read along with me real quick. So all forms of energy can be transferred into other forms of energy. Let's highlight that real quick, because that is the main point. And you know that the main point always comes in the first 1 or 2 sentences of every paragraph. All forms of energy can be transformed into other forms of energy. And remember, that's what the law of conservation of energy says, that energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change forms. Now, the next thing this paragraph says is that energy can transform once, or it can transfer multiple times. And that's the next most important thing I need you to know. And it says a toaster provides a good example of a single transformation. Electrical energy passes through metal wires and is transformed into thermal energy. The next thing I want to do is read this second paragraph, but before we do that, let's try something first, okay? Over to the side real quick, I want you to write this word transform. And transform means to change. And if I go back and substitute this word in for transform, it should make a little more sense. So let's talk about that. So a toaster provides a good example of a single change of energy. Electrical energy passes through metal wires and is changed into thermal energy. And let's just go ahead and write that right here real quick so that we have that. So transform means to change. If you eat toast, the resulting process is an example of multiple changes or transformations. Your body transforms or changes chemical energy stored in the cells into kinetic energy that moves your mouth. Your digestive system uses mechanical and chemical energy to digest the bread. Some of the chemical energy in the bread is released as thermal energy that helps your body maintain its temperature. And some of the remaining chemical energy is delivered back to your cells so that the cells then transform or change that chemical energy into mechanical energy that allows your body to function. So really what I want you to walk away from is that not only does one energy transform into another, but really that word transform is means to change. All right. Let's move on. Number 3, paragraph 3. Multiple transformations or changes also go into the making of bread. For instance, sunlight, which is a form of electromagnetic radiation, is harnessed by wheat plants to create chemical energy. And remember, this process is called photosynthesis, and we can just write that off to the side. So photosynthesis is a great example of chemical change. Mechanical or moving energy is used to grind the wheat into flour. And the flour is combined with water and yeast to make dough, which is a more chemical energy. And as the dough is baked in the oven, electrical energy is used to increase the thermal energy of the oven. Unless you have a gas stove, and then we use gas, obviously. Heat is also transferred from the oven to the dough, and the thermal energy of the dough increases as it is baked into bread. Many of the processes that we rely on daily involve multiple transformations or changes. If you go back into that paragraph real quick, it actually mentions this word once, but doesn't really give us a big clue as to what it means. Transfer or transferred. Can you highlight that for me real quick? And then off to the side here, I want you to write what the word transfer means. Transfer means to move. Means to move. And let's just go back and substitute that word in real quick, and it should make sense. So heat is moved from the oven to the dough, and the thermal energy of the dough increases as it bakes into bread. Well, that makes total sense now. And many of the processes that we rely on daily involve multiple transformations or changes. All right, cool. So the next thing I want you to do is this literacy connection up here, and let's go through it real quick, okay? It says, what evidence in the text supports the claim that energy changes forms? And it says 2 examples. So really what this wants you to do is give me 2 examples that the text uses that proves that energy changes from one form to another. And you've got 2 paragraphs there, obviously. I just need like a quick sentence of those 2 examples, or actually not even a sentence. You can just write the examples. What are the 2 examples in here that we can use that support the claim that energy changes forms? Write those down there, and when you get that done, come up and show it to me because I want to check that off. Thanks. Okay, so now that you've done this side, let's talk about this side. And this side really is going to be a review of what we just talked about, because I've already told you what the difference between transformation and transfer is. That does not mean that you should ignore this. Yes, this is going to give you some more details, okay? But remember that transformation just means simply to change, and transfer means to move. Okay, and again, I can't stress this enough. That is the objective today, to be able to explain the difference between energy transfer and energy transformation. Okay, pick up your highlighter. Energy transformation and energy transfer sometimes occur in the same process at the same time, but they are not the same thing. That is crucial. Let's highlight that real quick. Energy transformation and energy transfer sometimes occur in the same process, but picking up your pencil now, I want you to circle this, but, and underline, they are not the same thing. And I don't want you to do that in highlighter. I want you to do that in your pen and your pencil. That way you see the difference, yeah? They're connected, but they are not the same thing. And hopefully in the next paragraph, it's going to remind us or tell us what energy transformation is. Let's read on. Energy transformation occurs when one form of energy changes into another. Oh, crucial. I've already told you this. Let's highlight it. Energy transformation means when it changes. And here's a great example. The potential energy of a pendulum, such as a wrecking ball in figure 4, transforms kinetic energy as it falls due to the force of gravity. Energy transfer takes place when energy moves from one object to another. Oh, let's highlight that. Energy transfer takes place when energy moves from one object to another. So transfer means to move. When the wrecking ball hits the wall, some of the kinetic energy of the ball transfers to the wall, causing the wall to fall over. As the wrecking ball swings, energy is also transferred from the ball to the air due to the force of friction. In this case, energy transfers, but is also transformed. So it's moving and it's changing at the same time. Some of the mechanical or moving energy of the ball, moving wrecking ball is transferred and transformed into thermal energy of the surrounding air. And whenever a moving object experiences friction, some of its mechanical energy is transformed into thermal energy. And I know that's a lot to digest, so let's back up real quick by doing the bottom. Okay, so I realized that was a lot of information and it gets really confusing. So I think what we can do is if we fill in the bottom, I think that'll actually help us. So before we draw real quick, let's read the directions. It says draw pictures in the empty boxes to show what happens as the wrecking ball swings, and describe the energy transformations or changes and the transfers or the moves that are occurring. Okay? Well, the first thing I want you to take note is right now is this is kind of like the roller coaster. So the wrecking ball has high potential energy. And let's just write that real quick. The potential energy is high for the wrecking ball. It has not yet begun to swing in number 1. And it has low kinetic, the ball. Then the ball at the bottom of the swing, and we're going to draw this real quick, so pick up a pencil real quick. So if you can imagine the ball at the bottom of the swing, you're going to imagine that the brick wall is like this, and you can go ahead and just draw that real quick. It doesn't need to be a perfect drawing. Yes, and here is my ball. And please excuse my horrible drawing. And you should be drawing this as well. Okay, shade that in real quick. And here's what I need you to know is that potential energy transforms or changes into kinetic energy. And you know that because we've talked about with the skate park. Same thing. And then the next thing I want us to draw is we're going to draw the broken wall, and I'm going to kind of do this the best way it explains. I hope I don't mess this up. Keep in mind, I am not a great drawer. Play along with me real quick. So I'm trying to draw a broken wall. And clearly it is really broken right here. And we're going to draw the ball swing into, here we go. Hey, you know what? That's pretty good for me. I'll take that. Okay, so here's the ball hitting the wall. And the next thing I need you to make sure you understand is that when the ball hits the wall, it transfers kinetic energy into the wall. So as the ball hits, it transfers or moves kinetic energy into the wall. Causing it to break. Awesome. Okay. So again, I hope that this provides a little bit of more clarity as far as the difference between transformation and transfer. But really what I want you to do is right here, and you're going to come show this to me when you're done, is tell me what transformation means. And tell me what transfer means. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm checking. Okay? Tell me what transformation equals and what transfer means as well. Cool? Thanks.